It wasn't a great year for Alvin Kamara last season, but he still was the number 13 running back per game in full PPR. He was number 19 in non-PPR. He is suspended for 3 games. The decision coming down today on Friday, August 4th. Already recorded a mailbag show that's going to air on Saturday. So if you listen to that, we had no idea about the Kamara news. Also, please don't forget about the quarterback preview and the tight end preview. Don't let that get buried in your feed. Those were episodes on Thursday and Friday. I'm Adam Aizer with Heath Cummings. We'll do a few minutes here on Alvin Kamara and the 3-game suspension. Give me a ranking, Heath, and a round for Kamara.
RB25 still for me, and I would be happy to draft that in the round 5-6 range.
We talking Alexander Mattison area or what?
I'm still Mattison over Kamara. Listen, when I updated the projections, because I didn't have him projected for 4 to 6 game suspension, so this is certainly an upgrade over that. But he's still a 28-year-old running back who has seen his efficiency decrease significantly over the last 2 years. You look at the first 4 years of his career, 5 yards per carry, nearly 7 yards per target. The last 2 years, 3.9 yards per carry, 6.5 yards per target. Now he doesn't just have Taysom Hill stealing touchdowns from him, which Kamara only scored 2 rushing touchdowns last year and only has more than 5 rushing touchdowns once in the last 4 years. He also has Jamaal Williams there as well. So I do think that there's pretty significant risk in ranking him as a top 20 running back, but in the projections, I would now have him as a top 18 option. I just downgrade him because of the age, the injury concerns, and the extra sharing.
Alvin Kamara does not have a carry of longer than 30 yards in either of his last 2 seasons, and it just reminds me so much of Le'Veon Bell, of Ezekiel Elliott. It's just a little surprising to me with Kamara because it's not like he's had a huge workload. I mean, touches, yes, but carries, no. And 28, I would have felt like he'd be kind of a young 28. So to see him really decline at ages 26 and 27 was interesting. One thing that declined, at least according to Pro Football Focus, was his offensive line play. The run blocking grades have been pretty bad the last 2 years, and that used to be a strength for this team. But right now, for what it's worth, Heath, the PFF has the Saints 24th offensive line ranks. That's not specific to run or pass in their preseason rankings. So maybe he's just not going to be that electric player anymore.
And that's the problem. Like he needs either the extreme efficiency or a large share of the volume, or just like a ton of targets. And I don't know that any of those 3 are guaranteed, especially if Chris Olave and Michael Thomas are both healthy all year.
57 catches in 15 games. So could he be a 65 catch guy? If he's a 65 catch guy, then he should, in PPR, he's going to, and probably half PPR, he's probably going to outperform around 5 position.
Yes, I think if he's a 65 catch guy, especially, I don't think he can be a 65 catch guy because he's playing 14 games at the most this year.
I'm sorry. Okay. Per game. Yeah.
But I do think per game, he has a chance to be a number 2 running back, maybe even a high end number 2. I think the ceiling you're looking at is somewhere in that RB12, RB13 range. And the floor is much lower than that because they have plenty of options if he loses another step and he has age and injury concerns.
All right. Is there still any appeal to drafting Jamaal Williams or Kendre Miller? The first 3 games this year are against Tennessee. They always have a brutal run defense. Carolina and then Green Bay.
By brutal, you meant good.
Really damn good. They're a tough matchup. Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. I think both these guys are probably, for me, double-digit round picks. Jamaal Williams in that round 10-11 range. Kendre Miller in the end of the draft range. I didn't ever know for sure when Kamara was out if Miller would fill that pass catching role anyway, because he didn't do a lot of that in college. So I do think it'll be a timeshare between Jamaal Williams and Kendre Miller for those 3 games. I don't think one of the guys is going to see 20 touches per game, but they should be high-end flexes for 3 weeks. And then I think Williams probably stays as a flex and Kendre Miller falls off the radar. The nice thing for him is, like you talk about handcuff running backs, he's now backing up 2 different 28-year-old running backs. So if one of those guys goes down, he should have a role.
Last thing here. So you like Mattison better than Alvin Kamara. What about guys like James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White, guys that we might have some more questions about?
Yeah, Cook has been a big riser for me since the start of camp, just because of the way they're talking about him. So I would still take Cook and White. I actually have it White, Cook, Kamara in that order right now. I have all three of them ahead of Swift. One guy who, if we go another week or two and he's still on the pup, might fall behind this group is a Breece Hall, just because of the injury concerns and not knowing if he's going to be ready for week one. But somewhere in that, and I wouldn't argue with somebody that wanted to rank him at RB20, somewhere in that RB20 to 25 range is where Kamara should live.
Okay. Heath, thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. Anything from the passing standpoint? Does this affect Olave or Thomas or anything?
I don't think it does. It could be a good thing for Carr because, like I said, I was expecting 4 to 6 games. And while Kamara's efficiency has been down as a pass catching running back, he's still above average in that regard. And I'd still expect him to be much better than Jamaal Williams and Kendre Miller. So possibly a few more free yards for Derek Carr where he just dumps the ball off and the running back does all the work.
It helps. All right. Thanks to Heath and all of you for watching and listening. Remember, mailbag tomorrow. Thursday, we recorded quarterbacks. Friday, tight ends. So check out those position previews and have an awesome weekend. See ya.